Singapore is on a trajectory to become the world's most premier city-state by the year 2040, and a nation that stands entirely alone at the top by 2050. To truly understand the gravity of this shift, we have to look at the recent movements of the world's most influential power players, specifically the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. My perspective on this comes from a very personal connection. I have a former classmate, a brilliant PhD, who works within the foundation's public welfare and technology wings. He shared with me that while the world was looking elsewhere, the Gates Foundation was conducting a silent, rigorous, and exhaustive evaluation of where to place its next great global bet. For several years, they looked at the landscape of Asia, searching for a second home after their initial establishment in China. Logic would suggest that a foundation of that scale would prioritize massive population centers like India or Indonesia because their mission is often tied to human scale. However, the shifting tides of global geopolitics and the intensifying rivalry between the United States and China changed the calculus entirely. They spent over a year conducting deep dive research into the fundamental fabric of various nations, looking at things that go far beyond simple GDP. They looked at the stability of the law, the quality of human capital, and the long-term predictability of the social contract. After this period of intense scrutiny, the report was conclusive. They chose Singapore. The reason was clear. Singapore offers a level of political and social stability that is becoming increasingly rare on the global stage. The people are highly educated. The governance is consistent. And the heart of the population is rooted in a unique kind of social kindness and order. This is a massive development, because the sheer volume of capital that a foundation like this brings is staggering. To put it in perspective, the projected investment and operational spending the foundation plans to inject into Singapore is equivalent to 2 or 3 entire years of Singapore's national education budget. When you consider that education is Singapore's second largest expenditure after national defense, you realize we are talking about a transformative amount of wealth. This isn't just money for the sake of money. It is capital targeted at the absolute frontier of human existence. We are talking about deep space research, advanced biotechnology, life-saving vaccines, next-generation artificial intelligence, and the development of 6G digital infrastructure. Specifically, the Foundation's Global Health Accelerator and its Activator Unit are now positioning Singapore as the primary testing ground for novel platform technologies. These aren't just incremental improvements. They are reimagining paradigms, like using AI to develop gene-based curative interventions for virally induced chronic diseases. During the process of establishing this hub, the Foundation's leadership met with the highest levels of Singaporean governance, including Lee Hsien Loong and Lawrence Wong, as well as the heads of the National University of Singapore and Nanyang Technological University. They recognized a fundamental truth about the modern world. While large nations have the advantage of raw numbers, the absolute top-tier, Class A global talent, the researchers and innovators who move the needle for humanity, are increasingly picky about where they live. These people want stability. They want safety, and they want an international environment where they can thrive without the interference of volatile domestic politics. Singapore is already the city with the highest density of multinational corporations in Asia, and this new influx of high-tech capital acts like fresh, oxygenated blood being pumped into the nation's veins. It creates a self-reinforcing cycle where the best minds in semiconductors and AI move to Singapore because that is where the resources are. And the resources stay there because that is where the minds are. This brings us to the year 2040, a date that my colleague in the Foundation says will mark the point where Singapore's capital concentration in these fields will likely surpass any of their other global offices. But the rise of Singapore isn't just about foreign foundations. It is about the internal, long-term strategic planning of the Singaporean government, particularly the Tuas Port Project. This is a masterclass in foresight. While other nations react to crises, Singapore plans in decades. The research for this megaport began back in 2010, was announced in 2013,
and broke ground in 2015. By the time we reach 2040, the Tuas port will be the largest fully automated terminal in the world. We are talking about a handling capacity of 65 million TEUs annually, nearly double the volume of just a few years ago. This isn't just a bigger dock. It is a technological marvel that utilizes artificial intelligence and unmanned systems to move goods with a precision that was previously unthinkable. The port spans over 1,337 hectares and features a 26-kilometer quay wall built using 10-story tall caissons, each weighing 15,000 tons. Companies like Huawei and other global tech giants are already integrated into this infrastructure to ensure that the port operates as a digital twin of the physical world.
For a business, this means everything. If a CEO can monitor their cargo's movement with such precision that they can turn over their capital 10 times a year instead of once, their profit margins don't just increase, they explode. Efficiency is the new currency, and Singapore is printing it. Moreover, the completion of Tuas Port allows for a massive urban reclamation project. By moving the old port operations out of the city center, Singapore is freeing up 1,000 hectares of prime waterfront land, known as the Greater Southern Waterfront, GSW. When you combine this new development with the existing financial district, you create a sprawling, hyper-modern urban expanse that no other city on Earth, not New York, not London, not Shanghai, will be able to match in terms of integrated technology and quality of life. The GSW is envisioned as a decentralized re-centralization, featuring energy-efficient buildings, smart sensors for real-time traffic monitoring, and 4 major green corridors that weave ecological connectivity directly into the urban fabric. We are also seeing the expansion of Singapore's influence through regional integration, specifically with the Johor Singapore Special Economic Zone.
This creates a powerful synergy where Singapore serves as the high-tech, high-finance brain, while the surrounding regions provide the space and resources for a shared, thriving ecosystem. This one-of-a-kind urban model allows for a seamless flow of people and goods, effectively turning the region into a singular global powerhouse. Yet, beneath all the steel, silicon, and billions of dollars, the true strength lies in Renxing, fundamental humanity and social trust. There was a story told in the video about a person who left an expensive camera in a taxi. 30 minutes later, realizing the mistake, the person returned to find the driver still waiting at the drop-off point, refusing any reward and stating simply that it was his duty. This level of integrity is not accidental. It is cultivated through a rigorous education system and a national culture that prizes unity and the collective good. From a young age, Singaporeans are taught the Singapore Creed of standing together as one united people. However, this future is not guaranteed without challenges. For the 2040 and 2050 goals to be realized, the existing framework of stability must be maintained. In the most recent elections, while the People's Action Party maintained a significant majority of seats, their share of the popular vote hovered around 61%. If this support fluctuates, or if the governance becomes fractured, the long-term projects like Tuas or the integration with the Gates Foundation could lose their momentum. There are also the very real pressures of the cost of living that define the 2026 landscape. We are seeing a Singapore food reset, where hawker food prices are reaching a $4 baseline, causing significant debate in Parliament about how to protect both the affordability for citizens and the livelihoods of stallholders. The 2026 F&B laws have made budget meal schemes more flexible to prevent hawkers from shouldering the burden of subsidies alone. Simultaneously, the property market is navigating a complex landscape where million-dollar HDB flats have become a recurring phenomenon in prime zones, even as price growth begins to stabilize due to a massive supply of nearly 20,000 new BTO launches. The government must address these domestic concerns to ensure that the population remains invested in the 2040 vision. If they can navigate these internal waters and keep the cake growing so that everyone gets a fair and substantial slice, then the risks of political upheaval are minimized. The conclusion is clear. Singapore is not just a small island. It is a high-speed engine of the future. By combining the world's most advanced automated logistics, the world's most prestigious philanthropic and research capital, and a population rooted in deep social trust, Singapore is set to leave the rest of the world behind. By 2040, it will be the world's top city, and by 2050, it will be a nation that has truly soared to the sky, leading the global community from a position of unparalleled excellence and stability. This is the vision of a city-state that refused to be limited by its size, and instead chose to be defined by its vision and its discipline. As we watch these developments unfold, it becomes obvious that the Singapore of the future is not just a place to live, but a blueprint for what human civilization can achieve when it prioritizes long-term planning over short-term gain. The journey from a small trading post to a global titan is only just beginning its most exciting chapter.